Today's subject is the best budget lenses you can buy for wedding photography. Now, it's not going to be a long video because it doesn't have to be. I'm not going to go into the technical specs. There are plenty of videos that you can go to on YouTube to find deep dives into the tech specs of these lenses. But what I'm going to do is go with the real world approach to dissecting the lenses, what I use them for, what you can use them for, and why they are such good value for money. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new here, my name is Tom. I'm a wedding photographer based in the UK. On this channel, we explore strategies and tools that help you grow your wedding business in a way that works for you. So first up is my all-time favorite, and that is the 35 1.8 by Sony. This lens is such a great all-rounder for most things throughout the day. When I shot with primes, I use the 35mm for about 80% of my photos. Now you can use it for portraits, speeches, morning prep, pretty much everything. 35 is such a great focal length to focus on your subject while still bringing in a little bit of the background, a little bit more of the environment. So I know a lot of people love the 50mm for portrait, and it is now my go-to for portraits. However, 35 should not be looked over. If you're also shooting with a camera with quite a high megapixel count, such as an A7 IV or even more, an A7R5, then you can also crop in if you do still want that 50mm range. Another option is to also use the APS-C mode on your camera if you're using a full frame camera to crop in that little bit more. Fun fact is, if you use that APS-C crop mode, then the 35mm actually becomes a 50mm because APS-C mode crops into roughly about 1.5 to 1.6 times. Depending on where you look, you can buy this lens for around £360, which is an absolute bargain considering how long I use this lens for. I've only replaced it now because I purchased the 28-70 f2, which will not be on this list because it is around about £2,500 to £3,000. But for £360, this lens is such a steal for both amateurs and professionals due to the wide range of subjects that this lens can cover. It's also really light as well, so if you're in a field such as weddings where you're carrying around your cameras on you at all times, on your shoulders, on your back, on your waist, it doesn't add that much weight to you. My only complaint about this lens is it's not the sharpest. It's still fine unless you're cropping in by quite a lot or your clients are printing big photos. The sharpness is not comparable to that of something like a G Master lens. Now the perfect lens to pair this with is the Sony 85 1.8. Now that rounds off my perfect prime combination of 35-85. A lot of wedding photographers use it. I would still use it to this day if I hadn't bought the 28-70. The 35-85 combo has done me so well for the last 5 years. I've only recently just changed to zoom lenses. However, I still use the 85 on my second body for that extra reach, and that's what it was great for, paired with both the 35 and also paired with my 28-70. That extra 15mm doesn't sound like a lot, but it really does go far. It's great for when I'm shooting down a long aisle, for example, where I can't get too close to the subject. It's awesome for speeches when I am photographing the guests and their reactions so I can get up close. Remember, I can also crop in by either cropping in post or cropping in with the APS-C function. Now, unlike the 35, the 85 is actually surprisingly sharp. I really like the glass inside this lens. It's also very cheap. It's £340, so it comes in £20 cheaper than the 35. I would buy this lens regardless of whether you're using a 35 or whether you're using a zoom such as a 28-70 or a 28-75, which I'm going to chat about in a little bit. Now to round off these two lenses, the third lens in this lineup is the 17-28 Tamron f2.8. Again, I still use this lens. It's still in my camera bag. I use it only for the dance floor and for when I need a wider lens for bridal or groom prep in smaller rooms. Again, the 17-28 is actually surprisingly sharp for the price as well. This lens is only £500, which is another bargain for both professionals and amateurs alike. With it being 2.8, it's not the best in dark situations. However, on the dance floor, that doesn't really matter if you're using flash. So this is the perfect lens for flash photography on the dance floor. Now, if you've got a really busy dance floor, you can open it all the way to 17mm and shoot everything around you. You can also add some light lines as well if you want by putting the shutter speed down to around 1/15 and wiggling the camera a bit every time you press the shutter button. So when I would use this technique is when I'm in a big space but there's not many people on the dance floor. So to make it look a little bit busier, by giving the camera that shake and introducing blurred lines to the photos, you're making the photo in general look busier and therefore the dance floor look busier. In all honesty, I generally only use the 17mm focal length of this lens, so it might even be worth swapping this out for a prime if that's something that you're going to do. If you're only going to use it for the dance floor, I can't see many opportunities where you'd want to zoom in, because when you're on the dance floor, you're physically moving towards your subject anyway, so 17 is the perfect focal length if you're able to get close to your subject. But since the subject of this video is budget lenses, the 17 to 28 is the perfect lens to have in your bag for only £500. I would keep it in my bag at all times for any scenarios where I need a wider lens, such as bridal prep or the dance floor. Lastly is the 28 to 75 f2.8, again by Tamron. With 28 on the wide end, generally you don't need to go much wider than that apart from the dance floor, which is why you have that 17 to 28 in your bag hopefully, and 75 all the way on the other end. You can zoom into, again, speeches or ceremony and crop in that little bit more with APS-C or in post if you need to. I would always pair this lens with an 85. That 10mm extra distance does go a long way. I know it sounds small, but there really is a noticeable difference in that focal length. You can use it for video as well. It is so sharp on video. I use it to this day as well, filming videos. If I didn't have it on my desk to show you, it would be on the camera right now. I've got the 28 to 70 f2 on the camera right now, but the 2.8 is just perfect for a wide range of things. Now I want to give a special shout out to the Tamron 35 to 150 f2 to 2.8 because I've heard so many good things about it, and 35 to 150 is an incredible range of focal lengths. However, I don't have this lens, I've never used it, so I can't give you my recommendation personally. It is something that I'm going to try out in the future, but 35 to 150 is such a great alternative to the 28 to 70 or 28 to 75 if you're going for a budget lens. The only two reasons I didn't go for this lens is one, because it's variable aperture, and two, it's 35 on the lowest end and I really wanted 28. All the prices I've listed today are either on Amazon or grey market, so I do use eInfinity sometimes to purchase my equipment just because generally the prices are a lot lower. I know using grey market is a little bit controversial at times because it comes from different markets that aren't intended for the UK or your own country, but I've never had an issue with them, to be honest. I've never needed to use their 1-year warranty either. If you want to go safer, you can obviously use Amazon or your local camera stores. Amazon were actually cheaper for the 35mm because it is currently on Black Friday though, so it might go up again soon. As always guys, thank you so much for watching this video and I'll see you in the next one.